temporarily rejoin the TNT Monster Truck Challenge. But can the original monster truck compete with the new superstars of monster truck racing, like the skinny but sneaky Awesome Kong, national points leader Carolina Crusher, and defending national champion USA 1? We're about to find out. Then we've got the stars of truck pulling, like Ken Lamont's Midnight Express, pulling a 20-ton sled, and Jim Brockman's Chevy C-Cab. It's wheels up action coming your way right here on Tuff Trax. You're looking at beautiful Buffalo, New York, a city that knows professional sports very well, with a very successful football team a year ago, the Buffalo Bills, and the most successful AAA baseball franchise going right now in the Buffalo Bison's baseball team. But today they're on hand at Lancaster Speedway for the awesome power of TNT Motorsports. We'll be looking at the monster trucks in a moment, but you talk about awesome power, the world-famous Doug Rose and the Green Mamba jet car putting on a show for the folks at Lancaster Speedway. And they are really going to see some powerful action here today on Tuff Trax. Not only the Green Mamba, but the best monster trucks in the world. Now, Equalizer comes in as the point leader, but Carolina Crusher only a point behind. Equalizer won't be here today, so Crusher will take over the lead. There you see the Digger. USA 1's really been coming on in nightlife, rounding out that top 10. Wild Hair, Mad Dog, No Problem, Stomper, and Clydesdale. It is really going to be some kind of a points match here today, considering the fact that Equalizer is not on hand. So that means Gary Porter and Carolina Crusher really takes over the national points lead. Army Armstrong was able to spend some time with the new national points leader, Gary Porter, earlier. Here's Army with Gary Porter.
Well, thank you, Scott. We are standing in New York State with your current national points leader, the Carolina Crusher, Gary Porter. A long way to get here, but you're finally on top. How are you going to hang on to this thing?
Well, Army, it's took a lot of work to get here, and it's going to take twice as much work to stay where I'm at. There's a lot of tough competition here, and I'm hoping I can drive the truck sort of conservative tonight and don't have to push it to the limit. But if I have to push it to the limit to win, I will.
We're coming to the time of the year when there's a lot of races back-to-back. Is that why you're thinking conservative right now?
Yes, we got a lot of races back-to-back, and I'm going to try to be conservative on the truck now, and then later on this mini circuit, I'm going to have to start driving it harder to keep the points lead.
Congratulations on your points lead, but this is the man they're all going to be going after. Who are they? You're going to see Bigfoot, USA 1, Awesome Kong's here, the Bream Boys. Everybody's going after the flag that's going to be on the back of this truck. And the track we're going to be running on, it's the kind of track that they love. 2 sets of jumps, 16 cars, a safe track with plenty of shutdown. So we're going to be looking for a lot of air and a lot of ground speed. That's what's going to be happening on the monster truck end of it. Back to Scott for an update on the pulling portion of the program.
It's going to be just exciting when we take it to Fischersville, Virginia, and we're going to look at the first pull of the yellow Model T. And the man just coming off a Winter National Championship in that very two-wheel drive super modified truck. You're looking at Wayne Roush, and he's going to take the yellow Model T and try and show him he can do it on the outside, just like he did indoors all winter.
Well, Scott, all the spectators are watching this young man take a run, but also the drivers are watching the ex-college professor as he draws the #1 spot. The reason they're watching him is, #1, to see how his weight's set, #2, to see how the track's going to hold the horsepower, and they know if anybody can figure it out from that #1 spot, it's going to be Wayne Roush. Another advantage he has, most drivers do not like to draw the #1 spot because they only have one vehicle. Roush runs 2 vehicles on the circuit. This one drew #1. He'll use it to find out about the horsepower. Rolls out, looks good, had some real good ground speed going for him, Scott. But the weight's starting to come up on him. Front end lift right at the end. He's going to be out around the 280-foot mark, Scott Douglas.
It is very close to 280 at 278.48. Wayne's going to surprisingly accept that run of 278. It could come back to haunt him a little bit later. We'll find out as we return to Fischersville in a little bit here on Tuff Trax. But after this quick break, it's going to be qualifying highlights as Bigfoot, Awesome Kong, Carolina Crusher, and all the superstars of the TNT Monster Truck Challenge are coming up here on Tuff Trax. Boy, have we got a deal for you on this late model? Well, maybe not. Hi again, everyone. I'm Scott Douglas on Tuff Trax. I'm not going to sell you this car, but in a few moments it's going to be a candidate for the corner diner because it's going to be flat as a pancake after the monster trucks on the TNT Monster Truck Challenge go to work on it. It'll be qualifying work right now, and the first to qualify is the defending national champion, Rod Litzow, and USA 1 out of Spring Lake Park, Minnesota, and a guy who has really been coming on strong, Army, after a slow start.
Yeah, Litzow had some problems the first of the year. The problems were in braking due to the fact they're making so much horsepower. They're just snapping drive shafts. Now, this qualifying effort, that's a 795, and everything looks awfully good on that run.
Next up, it'll be Bigfoot and Andy Brass. Bigfoot running just the New York Mini Series portion of the TNT Monster Truck Challenge. We talked with Andy about why only the New York Mini Series.
Well, we're planning on running the whole circuit with this here truck, depending on how I can hold up with the truck, you know, because all the shows are real close together. And if I'm holding up real well, we're probably going to do it all with one truck. But if I can't hold up it to do all the driving, then we're probably going to bring another truck out and another driver.
Bigfoot with the option again of getting more trucks in if he needs it. And Andy Brass is off the mark and rolling, putting on a good, strong qualifying run.
Boy, Scott, you're right. He really laid down a shot. This is a good, long, straight track. He goes at 8:19 with a big smile on his face. The Bigfoot crew's going to have to be tickled with that.
Excellent run for Bigfoot. We're going to look at it again. Andy Brass comes right into your home, and look at the height on that jump.
Well, this young man is not afraid to drive the truck. As Bob Chandler, I've always felt, has a knack for picking class drivers, and believe me, Brass is right up there with them. Speaking of class drivers, Scott, this young man's in his own hometown. When he was a kid, his dad used to bring him to this racetrack. His dad was involved in drag racing. Now, son's up into the monster truck racing, and dad's sitting in the grandstands watching him. They call it the Buffalo Tremor.
John Kwasniewski's hitting it and going in front of the hometown fans in Lancaster Speedway in Buffalo. A good run for the Buffalo Tremor. Boy, look at him bounce at the end of that one.
Yeah, this kid would love to do some good here. I believe that 10:09 is going to get quicker as the night goes on.
Next, we're going to look at the Ford of the Jersey Outlaw, Mike Wine, another guy in his neck of the woods from over in Browns Mills, New Jersey.
Well, Mike is the driver of the truck. It's owned by Nick Rossi. He's a first-year driver. He's not an attack driver yet. You notice when he went into the first jump, he kind of backpedaled. The second jump, he'll go after you in a heartbeat, but the drivers are getting used to this track. You can see they're starting to develop a lot of confidence. A 985 is the word we get on that qualifying shot.
We'll look at the end of the run again, and here you see, just as you talked about, Army, once he got the field, he really cut her loose on that second set of cars.
Yeah. Well, what it is, they've got a lot of shutout area here, Scott. They go into a real long grass area on the infield of the circle track, so the times are definitely going to get quicker as we go through this qualifying session.
Next up, it's the national point leader with that silver flag because he won last week here on Tuff Trax. Gary Porter and Carolina Crusher. Gary now trying to hold on to the point lead.
Well, it's not really a problem. You know, I do look at the other trucks and see what they're doing and think about them, and then when I pull to the line, I just forget about them, man. I just think about, you know, making a good, consistent, you know, run and keeping the truck as straight as possible.
He's out of Wadesboro, North Carolina, and I'll tell you, he's one of the class acts on the TNT Monster Truck Challenge. Right now, though, trying to beat that 795 of USA 1 in qualifying. He gets a good run going here, but not quite on the run of USA 1 earlier.
You know, Scott, they're getting a whole lot of air. They're really getting some distance. These trucks are jumping over 20 feet in the air on that second set of cars, and that's due to the ground speed they can create.
Here's a guy who's sometimes able to cut kind of a lower line, not get all that air. Awesome Kong, Steve Kane out of Killeen, Texas.
Texas native rolls out. He'll qualify on the left lane now. Like you say, he didn't attack the second set of cars, and I think his time is going to reflect at a 9:13. Not bad at all.
All right, we're going to look at the way they're set up after qualifying. The time trials allow us to lay out the first round matchup. USA 1, best qualifier gets a bye. Jersey Outlaw will take on Mad Dog. Then Carolina Crusher now matches up with Wild Hair. Winner of that will come back against the fast loser. Awesome Kong will meet Bennett Clark's Clydesdale. That'll be a good race a little later in that first round. Nightlife to go up against the No Problem Ford, and Bigfoot matches up with the local favorite, the Buffalo Tremor. We've got an outstanding first round coming up, and when we come back, you're going to see it right here on Tuff Trax. The Monster Truck in Buffalo. Don't go away. This is a view, I guess, associated more than anything else with honeymoons. You're looking at Niagara Falls, and indeed, beauty and power all rolled into one. That's how we describe the TNT Monster Truck Challenge as well. Some of the most awesome looking and beautiful machines on the circuit, but they all pull incredible power, including the defending national champion, Rod Litzow, and the USA 1. He's got a bye run coming up by being virtue of the fast qualifier. Army, what's he going to try to accomplish here?
Really nothing, Scotty. He just has to get through this round. He's not attacking the track. Brought out earlier in the show. This is the first stop on the mini tour. They got a lot of races to go back-to-back day-wise, so he's not going to tear up any equipment if he can possibly help it at all. A very easy run. Didn't hurt anything at all.
Our first side-by-side matchup sends the Mad Dog and John Breen up against the Jersey Outlaw. We got a chance to talk to John Breen a little earlier and asked him how the Mad Dog's been doing.
Well, my truck's been pretty consistent. We haven't placed real high in it, but we're doing pretty good.
How about you as a driver? Is everything going okay in that department?
Oh, yeah, no problems there at all.
Now we're going to see him in action, side-by-side competition with Mike Wine and the Jersey Outlaw Ford.
Now, Mike Wine runs 460 cubic inch supercharged Ford engine into Ford. John Breen runs a 500 cubic inch carbureted Chevrolet engine, and the supercharger came back at the end of the track, but the Chevrolet really gave that Ford a good run.
So there you see it, side-by-side they go, and the Jersey Outlaw comes away with the victory up pretty close to his home state of New Jersey. Mike Wine gets the win, and Army's going to catch up with him.
Well, Mike Wine with the Jersey Outlaw Ford, you had to come back at the end on him. Breen looked like he came out real good, but the finish line charges what pulled it off for you.
Yeah, he got me real good on the hole. Didn't expect that out of him, to tell you the truth. And our motor, I wasn't expecting the life I got out of it. We've been working on it for the last 2 days. Finally, I got out of it what I wanted. I went ahead and put my foot into it.
Things looking good for you in the next round?
Yes, things are looking very good for me.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Bob Breen rolls out in the wild hair again out of Jefferson City, Missouri. His opponent will be Carolina Crusher. We asked Bob Breen what his motto is, particularly when you think about the fact that he's now going to have to go up against a top truck like Crusher.
Make it or break it. Don't hold back and don't give him nothing.
I'll tell you what, Scott, he lives by that motto. You keep an eye on him. His engine's located in the rear. Engines are basically the same on these trucks. They're both 512 cubic inch Chevrolet engines. The fire truck, the Carolina Crusher's engine in the stock location, that seems to be the good combination this evening. Is Breen, he didn't make it, and he didn't break it. So Carolina Crusher's going to be coming back.
So much for Breen's bravado. Carolina Crusher gets the victory. Gary Porter continuing to move on. Army's got the winner. I'm going to talk to him.
Well, Gary, that's the first step in keeping that flag that you said you're going to hang on to, but there's a whole lot of air out there between the jumps.
It is, it sure is. You come off that first set of cars, you're getting a little air, and you have to be exactly straight lined up for the second set of cars because they're so close together. Then we're getting a lot of air on the second set of cars.
When you guys go for that second set of cars, is it just kind of like laying all the cards on the table? You know the finish line is right at the end of it. You just pull the trigger and see if you can get it?
That's more or less it, because, you know, if you don't do it, the other guy might, you know, and the race is won and lost right there.
Bennett Clark will be next up in the Clydesdale out of Powder Springs, Georgia. And Bennett's opponent, Awesome Kong, Steve Kane from Killeen, Texas. This ought to be an exciting matchup, Armin.
Yeah, there's a definite difference in these trucks. The people that watch the show, they understand how Clydesdale is the longest monster truck on the circuit. Now, that could be to his advantage here. You just heard Porter say how important it is to be straight after the first set of cars. And the Clydesdale truck has a patented finish. He goes straighter than anybody over the finish line. Meanwhile, Awesome Kong comes out. Clydesdale's in trouble. He's not going to do it tonight. Boy, Awesome Kong is serving notice, isn't he? That was one of the strongest runs we've seen on the tour.
A simply awesome run for Awesome Kong. Steve Kane beating Clydesdale and Bennett Clark. Get a look at it again, Army. You can see all the bouncing to Clydesdale, and look how smooth Kong is.
You know, something you brought out in the qualifying section, notice Kong on that first jump is not getting as much air as the rest of these trucks. That allows him to land in between the jumps, get smoother, and hit the final jump with more attack in him.
Excellent run. Let's go over to Army, who's got Steve Kane right now.
Texas baby, Steve Kane doing some heads-up driving out there, Steve, but it seems to get tougher each week as we go further and further into this year for the championship.
Yeah, it is. Everybody's starting to get better engines, and their suspension's getting a lot better, and they're starting to run a lot faster. It's getting really tough out here.
Dave Wychorek, Nightlife, Grand Island, Nebraska. His opponent coming under the screen right now is the no-problem Ford Bronco. That's John Moore. John from Lafayette, Tennessee. One of the more consistent runners on the circuit. Dave Wychorek and Nightlife, as I mentioned, the Nebraska guy to take on the volunteer state man, John Moore.
Well, these are two of the nicest guys you're going to find in the sport. They go head-to-head against each other, one to Ford, one in a Chevrolet. Moore runs a lot with the TNT circuit. Wychorek, he's kind of a privateer. He runs with a lot of different promoters, but he's showing you right there. He definitely is a force in this sport. He's the one that has the unique driving style, Scott, of always keeping his head out the window.
Dave Wychorek looking good. Army's going to catch up with the winner in Nightlife.
Nightlight Chevrolet looking awfully good. Where did you develop that unique driving style? It's one of the big questions we get all the time. Why does he drive with his head out the window?
Well, it's easier for me to see where I'm going down the track. When your truck hits some ramps and goes up in the air, you can't tell where you're going, and it's easier for me to get good eyesight of where I'm going and where to steer to.
How about the truck tonight? Is it feeling okay for you? It's looking awfully good.
Yeah, the truck feels real good. The ramps are a little steep and everybody's getting a lot of air. It's just trying to keep the trucks down low so you can make some speed. But I guess you just got to do what you can to get by.
See you in the next round.
Thanks.
That view out the window worked for him then. Okay, here we go with Bigfoot. Andy Brass getting ready to hook up with the Buffalo Tremor, the hometown favorite, if you will, and John Kwasniewski out of Lackawanna, New York, which basically is Buffalo.
Well, this kid out of New York picked on a bad hombre to go against in front of his hometown folks as Andy Brass takes Bob Chandler, also original monster truck Ford, to the winner's circle.
Good run for Buffalo Tremor. He gave it a strong pull, but your winner is Bigfoot and Andy Brass. Army and Andy right now.
Well, we told you the story about Bob Chandler hiring basically the best drivers in the sport. This is no exception. This is the rule. Andy, we haven't seen you for a long time. You haven't been racing for a long time, but you come right back in, kind of like riding a bicycle. You're right back where you left off.
Yeah, it is. You know, once you get the hang of it a little bit, it's, you know, it always stays with you. Like I say, you know, you always take your qualifying run, take it a little easy, get the feel of it again, and then just kind of stand on it. We've been out west doing a little bit of racing out there, not a whole lot, but trying to stay with it, you know, and stay in.
Andy Brass, the Bigfoot driver. We'll see him again a little later. Now we're going to go back to pulling. We told you we'd be in Fischersville, Virginia today for some great pulling action, and we've got the defending national champion coming onto the track right now, Mike Stowe, the Bad Dog Ford out of Warrenton, Georgia. He's going to hook up and see how he can handle this track in Fischersville. For Mike, it's a brand new truck in a lot of ways, Army.
Yeah, it's a brand new 89 Ford sheet metal. He's picked up with a new sponsor with the fine people at M30 Hand Cleaner. It's a whole new combination. Now, we know Roush went a 280 and said the track was there. Stowe comes out trying to figure out how he's going to put... Now, he's got problems, bad problems. He's got to get on the brakes quick. He doesn't. Okay, now, what the deal is, there is a foul line in this sport. It's a 75-foot mark. If you do not go past it, you can drop in the field. And Stowe, when he left the starting line, he knew he was in trouble. You got to stop the truck, but also that 20,000-pound sled behind you.
And that's what he was pointing down. He said, I got stopped in time. The official says, yes, indeed. That does mean Mike Stowe and the Bad Dog Ford will be back. When we return, we'll find out if there's going to be more bad luck for the Bad Dog, or we'll see if Mike Stowe can get things turned around. Lots more great action coming right up on Tuff Trax. Don't you dare go away. The most action-packed hour on television, Tuff Trax. I'm Scott Douglas with Army Armstrong and the best of the TNT All-American Pulling Series. You see Jim Brockman's Kodiak Dodge out of New Haven, Indiana at Fischersville, Virginia. And right now, everybody seems to be having a little trouble getting adjusted. I don't know if it's the track or if it's just the equipment really not holding up. But Wayne Roush didn't get a good fight earlier. Obviously problems for Mike Stowe. And now let's see what happens with Brockman.
I don't think you're going to see any problem here. This has got to be one of the sharpest pullers in the sport. Look at this. This is a beautiful run. He started on the left side. The weight looked to be perfect. Brockman and that beautiful Kodiak Dodge goes right to the top of this thing.
Well, almost took it out. 298.04. That's really going to set something for these guys to shoot at now.
Yeah, but look for a lot of other drivers to come off that same side of the track now, Scott.
Ken Lamont, one of the big names in the sport out of Crossville, Illinois, and the Plano Toolbox's Midnight Express, that beautiful El Camino.
Engine is smoking real. He's got some problems. Right on it. You can tell when he left the start. Notice how the cylinders are not hitting. He's not making a full horsepower run. It's going to get robbed at about... On the other side of the 250, he was struggling for every inch he could get. It looked like a magneto problem, Scott.
Yeah, with all the problems, still a 292.74. That's a heck of a pull for Ken Lamont.
That's some heads-up driving there, believe me.
Army's got him over there. Let's see how Ken Lamont feels about a pull that certainly wasn't at 100%, but still got the job done fairly well.
Well, Kenny, the run, I know it's not exactly what you're looking for. The motor sounded like it was a fueling problem.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a fueling problem or if it's an ignition problem. We put on a fresh blower. Anytime you put on a fresh blower, you pack more air into the cylinder and it makes it harder to spark. So I don't know if with the changes we backed it, but tomorrow everything's going to be new, so hopefully the same thing's not going to happen again. Anytime Red Man goes to putting up this kind of money for a point series, you got him set on kill. I want to win. That's just all there is to it.
Ken Lamont telling it like it is in the Plano Toolbox's Midnight Express.
You know, he just about summed up this sport in one statement there. Anytime you go to one of these Red Man events, these guys are all going to be running that motor on kill.
Lige McLean brings the Rowdy Chevrolet out of DeMossville, Kentucky, trying to beat the 298 of Brockman.
He's currently in the top 10 in the national point standing. Early model Chevrolet sheet metal powered by a 500-plus cubic inch alcohol-burning Chevrolet Big Block. He'll stay in the top 10, but not go into the lead distance. The 298 is going to be tough to beat tonight, Scott.
278.97 for the Rowdy Chevrolet of Lige McLean. And right now, that is not at the top. As we mentioned, Brockman and Lamont continuing to run 1-2. Well, Bad Dog is getting ready once again. Mike Stowe, the defending national champion, has changed things around. As Army talked about a little earlier, picked up a new sponsor, got the new medal on the truck, making a lot of changes, but has done some struggling as well. We talked earlier with Mike Stowe about the hard times he's encountered in trying to defend that national championship on the TNT Series.
Standing with me right now is your defending national champion in the super modified two-wheel drive, Mike Stowe. Mike, you come out with high hopes, a brand new truck. 89 was going to be a dynamite year for you, but it just hasn't been that good to you so far, has it?
Well, we've had a few problems, as you will with any new vehicle. Got a hold of a few bad pieces, made a lot of changes. It's just got to get dialed in. It's going to be a long, hard, hot summer, and we're not out of it. I'm not going to give up. The boys know it. They run around trying to help me get pieces when I get down, you know, and I'm not giving up. It's going to be a long year.
Okay, this is the second stop of a 10-city tour for this national championship, so time really is on your side. What major changes have you made in the truck? Of course, it's an 89 Ford now. Did you change engines? Did you change chassis, or what? Did we just put a new dress on an old lady, or what's the story here?
Well, we kind of dressed up the old dog. Still got the same frame, new sheet metal from Ford. Motor has been freshened, and we've had problems with it. You know, we just missed that tune-up there a little bit. Had some bad numbers. That didn't help any. But it'll turn around. I'm confident of that. The truck's good. It's a proven truck. Motor's a proven item. All I got to do is get it dialed in.
Mike Stowe and the M30 Bad Dog Ford, sponsored by M30 Hand Cleaners. Here he goes. Let's see how his pull goes, Army. The Bad Dog getting after it.
Okay, now he's still having. You notice the white coming out of the engine. That's an indication that one cylinder on each side not working. Look, he's staying after it. They've got him on kill. This one's going away on him.
The distance will be for Mike Stowe, 277.11. Certainly not what he had hoped to do here at Fischersville, Virginia. So Stowe will not get the win here today, and he'll continue to try and get the M30 Hand Cleaners Bad Dog Ford back on track.
You know, what's interesting is once he went past that 75-foot mark, it's like jumping off a high dive. You got to go for everything you can get. I know he knew the engine was going away, but you've got to stay after it if you're going to chase these points.
The Professor's back, the Little Red Truck, and it's Wayne Roush out of Dublin, Ohio.
His first shot went a 278. Let's see if he learned anything on that. Good run. Weight looks good. Worked in the middle of the track. Now he's starting to drift a little bit to the left side.
Wow. Drifted a little at the end, as you mentioned. May have cost him a few feet. 290.70. A good run. That should put him in the upper echelon. Right now, that'll land him third behind Jim Brockman's Kodiak Dodge and Ken Lamont's Plano Toolbox's Midnight Express. So Wayne Roush and the Little Red Truck running pretty well.
Wayne, on a 300-foot track from 290 on, it's tough, isn't it?
It felt for a little bit there like it was going to go out, and it was kind of going to the left, and I was just hoping it would stay inbounds, you know, just sneak right on out, but it didn't quite do it. But I made a mistake in turning down in taking the pull with the yellow truck, didn't I?
Well, in my opinion, yeah, I think you learned something there, but it's just amazing. I thought we were standing at the end of the track, and you had the ground speed. I thought, here he comes. And, boy, at the 290, it's just like somebody hooked a chain to you and stopped you.
And I didn't have to hit the brakes, you know. I cut the tires a little bit different than most of the other guys, and it felt pretty good.
But not quite good enough this time for Wayne Roush. Still, it'll be an excellent finish, but not the win he wanted. We're halfway through the class, and we'll be coming back to Fischersville a little later. But when we return, it's back to Buffalo, New York. Quarterfinal round matchups as the Monsters wing it in Buffalo. Stay with us here on Tuff Trax. Buffalo, New York, the TNT Monster Truck Challenge. is roaring your way on Tuff Trax. There's the way the first round went. Of course, USA won with that bye run. Will now meet Jersey Outlaw in the quarterfinals after the Outlaw dispatched Mad Dog. Carolina Crusher, you'll remember, grabbed the victory over Bob Breen's Wild Hair. The Crusher will now meet Buffalo Tremor. The Tremor comes back as the fast loser in the opening round. Awesome Kong dispatched Clydesdale, so Kong in the second round will meet Wild Hair, who gets to come back as the second fastest opening round loser, so Wild Hair is still alive. The Nightlife no-problem matchup went to Dave Washorek and Nightlife will meet Andy Brass and Bigfoot as we round out the quarterfinal round here in Buffalo. Our first quarterfinal matchup is set to go.
Side by side right now, both of them white in color, but one of them carrying the brand Chevrolet, the other one carrying the Ford brand, and leaves the starting line. The Jersey Outlaw comes out good, but look at Ron Litzow with the USA 1.
Boy, the defending national champion is really back on track. Outstanding run for Rod Litzow and USA 1 as he dispatches the Jersey Outlaw Ford. Right now, we're going to check in with Army, who's going to go over and see what Mr. Litzow's got to say.
Rod, working your way through the field of a real tough situation here. The track looks awfully airish out there tonight. Everybody's going straight up.
Yeah, it is. The cars ain't getting hammered down like I thought they would, but later in the race they may start going down a little better. I'm trying to make it so I clear the last set of cars, but it's looking like it's going to get faster and faster, and I'm trying to put the trucks into 6 seconds now.
Wow, he's really trying to do something, and he may get it the way he's going before the night's out.
Yeah, he said he's trying to clear the last set of cars. There are 12 cars in that set, Scott.
Carolina Crusher and a fast loser from the opening round, Buffalo Tremor. But unfortunately for the hometown guy, it looks like he's going to go down 0 for 2 as Crusher is able to put the Tremor away.
Well, the Buffalo Tremor, like we say, this youngster's under a lot of pressure. He's a good monster truck driver. He's got a future ahead of him, but Gary Porter is almost destined to take a win here as he wants to hold on to that flag. You notice how smooth Porter is with the flag flying in the background, and the Buffalo Tremor, he was fighting it all the way through.
Carolina Crusher will go to the semifinal round, and that'll set up a great matchup between Crusher and USA 1. But that's later. Here we go to Awesome Kong and Wild Hair. There you get a good look at Bob Breen getting all the harnesses, goggles, helmets, and gear in place and ready to go in his matchup with Steve Kane and Awesome Kong out of Killeen, Texas. And the Wild Hair is stalled to line. Awesome Kong takes off, and there's nothing for Bob Breen to do.
Steve Kane's going to advance into this round. Now, I was anxious to see what was going to happen here because both of those trucks were on the rear engine setup. Bob Breen, we understand, lost the torque converter in the transmission. That's why he couldn't move.
Hey, it's been a rough time for Bob Breen and Wild Hair. You may remember last week's show as the Wild Hair took a wild ride and ended up straddling the wall when we were back in Richmond, Virginia. And here he breaks right here at the starting line. Here's that run in Richmond a week ago. Watch where Breen ends up. Remember this one, folks?
He took a real bad bounce right about here, and bam, right on the wall. Now, the damage comes right there when he just stopped instantly. The driver actually hit his head on the roll bar, and it kind of stunned him for a minute. We had some problems talking with him right at the end of the incident. You notice him getting out. He's kind of in a daze right now.
So he was okay, by the way, after that run. And again, you can see the officials came up and got Bob out of Wild Hair. So it's been a rough stretch for Bob Breen and Wild Hair. And here you can see breaks on the starting line in the quarterfinals. That sends into the semifinals Awesome Kong. He'll meet either Bigfoot or Nightlife. You know, Bigfoot, the original monster truck, but recently other trucks have passed Bigfoot by in technology. We talked with Andy Brass about that subject.
Yeah, a lot of guys have made a lot of changes to the truck. You know, they can sit back and watch, and a lot of guys are building a little bit more motor, and they're getting their gearing about right, and their weight's coming down on the trucks, you know, and everybody's getting real close, you know. Like I said, I haven't followed the circuit a lot this year, but a lot of the guys have been within 1 or 2 seconds of everybody, you know, and it's real close racing.
Right now, we'll see who is going to be within a second of whom, because it is Bigfoot and Nightlife, and the Foot's got the early edge.
Yeah, that was called right on the starting line. This Brass kid, he's just a dream to watch him drive these trucks. He's not intimidated by anybody. Dave Washorek ran a good race. Bigfoot just had him covered from the word go.
Look at this Final Four we're going to have in Buffalo, New York. In one bracket, USA 1 and Crusher. The other is Awesome Kong and Bigfoot. That's later, but when we return, Fischersville, Virginia, and more super modified two-wheel drive pulling on Tuff Trax. The TNT All-American Pulling Series on Tuff Trax is in Fischersville, Virginia. I'm Scott Douglas with Army Armstrong, and we're halfway through the class. Jim Brockman's Kodiak Dodge is the one to beat. Ken Lamont sitting second, and Wayne Roush and Lige McLean rounding out the top four. But they've got to virtually take it out of Fischersville to beat Jim Brockman's Kodiak Dodge on this 300-foot track. The guy who's going to triumph is a tough customer indeed. It'll be Mark Hare and Jack Daniels.
Mark Hare runs a unique setup with his engine combination. When he leaves the starting line, I want you to notice all the smoke that comes out of the engine. This is an Arius racing engine. They set it up real loose, and it smokes a lot. The engine actually looks like it's going away, but it's not. That's the way it makes the most horsepower. See what I'm talking about? Any other time, I'd be telling you that engine has a lot of problems. The way they have it set up, this is the way they can make all the horsepower now. That'll go away right now. Look at this run. Jack Daniels special laying down a shot right down the middle, Scott.
It looks good, Army.
Awfully good run.
Indeed it is for Jack Daniels. It won't put him in the lead, but it should get him a top 5 spot at 291.08 for Mark Hare and Jack Daniels all the way from Springfield, Ohio. It may not be a winner, but it's going to put him up in the upper echelon here at Fischersville. Army's standing by with Mark Hare.
What about the run you just made? Looked awfully good. The track looks to be coming around. I believe there's about 7 more vehicles behind you.
Not too bad. Act like the front end kind of got a little heavy down here at the other end there. Maybe, you know, ran into some ruts or something, but it wasn't too bad. I sure like to cross that 300-foot line, though.
Not today, however, just a little bit short. A good run for Mark Hare, and again, it's 291.08. Right now, that's got him in the top 3. Here's Art Hathaway in the Honkin' Donkey Ford. He's out of Washington, Pennsylvania.
Boy, Scott, you talk about some nice engineering. This truck has. It's powered by the Aries engine, runs a Ford sheet metal. Hathaway can definitely be a player for this national championship. He rolls out, watches everybody else to see what they're going to do. He looks a little bit heavy on the nose. Now it starts to bounce on him, but he does have the ground speed. He's got to be tickled with that run. That was a good run, drawing that particular position in the field, Scott.
279.27, though. Won't be good enough to crack the top 5, but as you said, still not a bad run for the Honkin' Donkey Ford. Well, our leader, Jim Brockman, has the lead in the Kodiak Dodge. Now he's coming back in his other truck, the Chevy C-Cab.
You know, this is a really neat truck to watch. If he ever pulls when you're in an event, I want you to watch him because that's exactly what you can do. You can see everything the driver does. Right hand on the throttle, left hand on the steering wheel. Each foot is on the brake, and Brockman working that left lane to perfection. Look at this. Brockman can wind up being 1-2. Got a beautiful run.
I believe he is 1-2. The C-Cab sneaks in right behind the Kodiak Dodge. 293.98. That bumps Lamont down to 3rd, and Brockman has the 2 best distances thus far. Army Armstrong and Jim Brockman.
Jim, you're in a situation everybody kind of like to be in. You seem to be dominating this class tonight.
Well, you know, there's nights when you concentrate hard and things just kind of go your way, and this happens to be our time, I guess.
Well, we talked to you a moment ago, earlier in the class, you said there was going to be some other fellas that could come and play hardball with you, but the odds are definitely getting in your favor now. We're getting down towards the end of this class. There's not that much heat sitting back there.
No, and it's kind of surprising. Some of the good trucks that you've seen run already have just had bad problems. Things just haven't gone their way tonight, and that happens. You know, you got to take the good with the bad in this deal.
Guarantee it. Some days around here you're the bug, and some days you're the windshield. And it's all Brockman today, sitting 1-2 in the Kodiak Dodge and the Chevy C-Cab. Next up, we're going to tell you about a brand new puller on the TNT All-American Pulling Series, Ray Carpenter. Now, Ray's been coming out of Bettendorf, Iowa in the Sundance Kid. Let's meet one of the new guys on the TNT Pulling Series.
Standing with me right now is your current national points leader on the Redman TNT All-American Pulling Series in the super modified two-wheel drive competition, Ray Carpenter. Now, Ray, tell us a little bit about yourself.
8-year semi-puller. There again, you know, we're like anybody always looking for a new challenge, so we got into the two-wheel drive with Redman, and we're in it for the money, the mucho dinero. That's what it's about here.
Standing behind us has got to be one of the most fantastic pieces of equipment used to get your equipment up and down the highway, that being your hauler. Can you tell us a little bit about that, Ray?
Well, yes, we did it mostly for the convenience of getting to and from the pull. We didn't want to get to the pull and really be tired or beat to death road weary-wise, but we put this thing together, 72.5 on the footage long, and we got it set up Probably pretty much like your living room, TV, VCR, with the refrigerator, the running water. There again, it's just convenience and a lot of miles you have to travel to do these TNT Redman shows.
Well, I guess, Army, we know where you're going to be riding on these trips between stops from now on.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, that is an impressive rig. But, yeah, he's new to the pulling end of it in the two-wheel drive class, but for years, he has dominated the semi-trailer competition with the Bounty Hunter truck. The new vehicle he runs called the Sundance Kid. He took a win in Nashville, Tennessee. He's not going to do that in Fischersville, Virginia. Brockman just dodged a big shot right there by staying in front of this truck.
286.38 for the Sundance Kid. That will put him 6th in the competition. Now, Dan Walsh, the Irish challenger out of Boston, Wisconsin. Army, the Walshes have been very impressive so far this year on Tuff Trax.
Yeah, this kid can be your worst nightmare in a heartbeat. Goes by the name of the Irish challenger. He's working a little bit off center to the left. The ground speed looks to be good. Boy, about the last 20 feet is some tough sledding out there. 298.04 is the distance he had to go after. Look at that, 17 feet down, Scott.
He doesn't get it, and that means it's Jim Brockman running 1-2 in the final standings here at the TNT All-American Pulling Series action at Fischersville, Virginia. There you see it. The Kodiak Dodge, the Chevy C-Cab, the Brockman trucks are 1-2. The Midnight Express of Ken Lamont third. Mark Heron, Jack Daniels ends up fourth. The Professor, Wayne Roush, and the Little Red Truck checking in the number 5 spot.
Well, historically, the Fischersville track gets better as the class goes along. Jim Brockman pulled early in the class. You thought that's exactly what was going to happen. That wasn't the case tonight. You come and knock these guys with a double shot, first and second.
Well, that doesn't happen very often, but when it does, we'll take advantage of it, and we'll certainly cash the Red Man checks here tonight.
And it is plural because he's taking the first and second place checks. Once again, here it was early in the class, the Kodiak Dodge, and Jim Brockman hooks up, and he takes her almost out of Fischersville, Virginia on a 300-foot track. His 298-foot pull stands up, and Jim Brockman comes away as your winner this week on the TNT All-American Pulling Series. Hey, we've got more powerful action coming up as we're down to the Final Four in Buffalo, New York with the TNT Monster Truck Challenge. Four of the biggest names of the sport are coming at you here on Tuff Trax. Well, when you talk about your money's worth, the folks who paid for that ticket tonight in Buffalo to see the TNT Monster Trucks are flat getting what they want in the semifinals. Look at this Final Four. Rod Litzow in USA 1 will match up against Gary Porter and your national point leader, the Carolina Crusher. And then the other half of the bracket, Steve Kane and the Awesome Kong against Andy Brass and Bigfoot. Wow, what a Final Four. And we're fixing to get right after it here on Tuff Trax as the USA 1 truck with Rod Litzow goes up against Gary Porter's Carolina Crusher.
Both of these drivers are under a lot of pressure. Litzow has to start turning his luck around now if he's going to defend the national championship. The Carolina Crusher has got to do everything he can do to hold on to the flag. He won last week, would like to make it 2 in a row. Let's see what's going to happen. They lead side by side, but what a run by USA 1, Scott. Look how smooth. Whoa, he's in trouble. That's spooky. Now, we're down at the end of the track, and these guys are coming past us at about 60 miles an hour.
That is what you call a statement. The defending national champion making a statement to your current point leader. Side by side, and it was all Rod Litzow in USA 1. And I think at this point, Gary Porter said, I'll just save the truck.
Yeah, the handwriting was on the wall, believe me.
So USA 1 very impressively dispatches Carolina Crusher. Army's going to talk to Rod Litzow, a big winner.
Now, Rod, your truck has always run flags on the back. We see the Heartbeat of America, Chevrolet, True Value Hardware, your sponsors, but you've got a chance for the first time this year to put the winner flag on the back of this truck. You are going to the finals. Are you going to be staying on that right side?
Well, the way I'm feeling right now, it's hard to explain, but I just can feel this track. I'm feeling good. I know I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it for True Value and Chevrolet. I'm going to put it all together tonight.
Rod Litzow's doing it so far. He looks sensational, but he's going to have to beat one of these two trucks, and they've been great all night. Andy Brass and Bigfoot against this guy, Steve Kane and Awesome Kong out of Killeen, Texas.
And they want to win so they can go against that USA 1. Everybody at this point is so pumped up. They really believe in themselves. The Litzow interview, you can tell he's excited to be in the final, but who's he going to be going against? We're going to find out right now. Texas going against Missouri. Oh, Texas backs off a little bit. He's going to let that Ford sit on the starting line, get a little bit warm, I believe. Now He's trying to psych the driver of the Ford up, and I tell you, I don't believe you're going to out-psych. Brass is a cool customer.
All right, the psych is over. It's time to put it down and put your cards on the table. It's Andy Brass and Bigfoot, Awesome Kong and Steve Case. Here they come, Army.
They left together. They're over the first jump together. Brass saves, Moon Kong comes back. I cannot tell who won.
Wow, how can you call it? By inches at the finish line, Bigfoot and Kong, and it appears Kong will come away the winner by a matter of inches. And Bigfoot running on the circuit, but obviously still got a lot of work to do to get back into winning monster truck competition. Let's go over to Army with Andy Brass.
Andy, an awfully good runner, an awfully tough competitor. This kid, Steve Kane, has been in the backdrop, so to speak, of the Dane brothers for a long time, and he's really making a name for himself. He's turned out to be a good driver, isn't he?
Yeah, Steve's doing a real well job driving, you know, and plus the truck he's got, Awesome Kong's been doing real well this year. You know, he's got runs big motor, you know, alcohol injection motor, and it's real helping out on these kind of tracks that we're running out here.
Have you learned anything tonight since you're just now coming back to running against these guys? Have you learned anything? You and George are going to get back and we can see some changes in the near future with the Bigfoot truck?
Yeah, we might try a little gearing change tomorrow, maybe try to get out of the hole a little better. It seems like that's what's counting here, getting out of the hole, because kind of from the beginning, it kind of looked like Steve had me from the hole on out.
We're proud to have you back. Thanks a lot for coming.
Thank you, Arm.
Had him just by inches as Doug Crow, the TNT timer, continues to look at a videotape replay of just how close that final was between Awesome Kong and Bigfoot. Well, we know it'll be Kong going up against USA 1 in what ought to be a sensational championship matchup. Let's go down and get Army Armstrong's feeling on the final two and how they're going to match up in the championship.
Well, Scott, the finals coming up. It's going to be Texas against Minnesota. It's going to be Chevrolet against Chevrolet. The question is, who's going to carry the flag away for the first time this year? Neither truck has won the flag. I had the opportunity to carry it outdoors in 1989. Rod Litzow started his move this time last year that netted him the national championship. He'll be coming out on the right side of the track. Coming off the left side of the track, Steve Kane. This kid's doing a great job making a name for himself, driving the feared Awesome Kong out of the great state of Texas. Stay tuned. The finals coming up to see who carries the flag to the next event.
This is it, the championship here in Buffalo on the TNT Monster Truck Challenge. Army, it's USA 1 against Awesome Kong.
Both of them Chevrolets. One of them a front motor, one of them a rear motor. Both going after the first win of 89 and lead the starting line side by side. First jumps are clean. Second jump, Scott, who is it?
It's USA 1 by about a half a wheel length. Rod Litzow is back. USA 1 takes the victory, and a big one it is here in Buffalo. Let's go over to Army with your winner, Rod Litzow.
Rod Litzow with USA 1, I'm going to present you the flag. The first time you've ever had an opportunity to carry the flag, and believe me, you earned it.
Thank you. This is for True Value and Chevrolet and everyone behind us. We're going all the way from here.
You and your crew chief, Steve Wilkie, seem to have a handle on this thing from the word go tonight.
Yeah, that's the name of the game. If you got good teamwork out here and you feel good, comfortable together, everything starts running smooth, and all we have to do is concentrate on winning. That's what we're here doing.
It was 1 year ago tonight that you started your move that netted you the national championship, the first national championship ever in the monster truck races. You've had your share of problems this year. You and Everett and Steve and a crew back in Minnesota have been working awfully hard. Is the same thing going to happen? Is this the turnaround point for USA 1? Are you going back for that national championship?
Well, I want to say yeah, because we finally figured out we got everything set. We're running strong. The truck just checked out perfect on this. We made another test run here. It ran all night. Not a problem. So I feel we're going to go all the way out right now. It's going to be tough to beat us.
Tell you, you've always carried a Chevrolet flag. You've always carried a True Value hardware flag. Congratulations, you get the winner's flag tonight.
Thank you. It feels great.
We'll see him with that silver flag on the back of USA 1 next week here on Tuff Trax. And boy, USA 1 is really coming, but Rod Litzow still got work to do. There you see the points. Carolina Crusher still on top. Equalizer drops to second. Gravedigger third. USA 1 is a solid fourth and coming. Nightlife fifth. Wild Hair and Mad Dog, the Breen Boys at 6 and 7. Then it's Awesome Kong, No Problem, and the Stomper Chevrolet now in the top 10 in the TNT Monster Truck Challenge. Great action this week, and when we come back next week here on Tuff Trax, it's the second half of our Buffalo doubleheader. That's next week here on Tuff Trax.